GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
Gadar happened to me parallel to when I was shooting Kaho Na Pyar Hai. But when I heard the narration of Gadar, my heart and soul said, I have to do it. I went against everyone's advice and I still went and I did Gadar. Actually brought Bollywood out of ICU is the responses that me and Sunny got. Vulnerability and the innocence on the face is still there. Tara Singh's beauty and Sakina's beauty is that their romance that came on screen even 20 years later, and you see them in the song blushing with each other. Audiences related to that. My secretary actually told Shah Rukh's team that I didn't have dates. He's like, come Ameesha, let me show you my film that you didn't do. And I was like, I didn't do? Am I crazy? It's my dream to work with Shah Rukh.
Did you fire your secretary after that?
He's not working with me anymore. Yes, there was one film that Shah Rukh, Swadesh, that Shah Rukh wanted me to do, and he requested me to meet Ashutosh Gowariker. Ashu had called me in New Zealand. My secretary had called me in New Zealand and said कि मैम वो लगान की डेट हम लोग ने गदर के लिए दे दी. And I said क्यों? He said because Ashu's not feeling that you will look like a village belle, because you're very polished and your eyes are very educated.
Yeah.
So no matter कि हम आपको काला पीला कर दे, tan makeup लगा दे, ये वो your inherent body language and your polish is not a village character. No, because I don't allow a lot of people into my private life. Not many people have access to where I live, what I do. I'm more of a private person. Of course, when I was promised the climax, and as you can see, the climax was very abrupt. And these were the reactions in the theatre also कि क्या हो गया? Villain को ना Sunny ने मारा, किसी ने नहीं मारा. He was just left on no man's land. So it was agreed upon कि असली हकदार सकीना ही होगी ये विलन को मारने के लिए.
But would you do Gadar 3? You became an overnight sensation, but do you feel that there was an S factor that worked for you? Whether it was Sonia or Sakina. You were a complete outsider. People started loving you, even in movies that didn't work. Till date, people have tried to mimic you, imitate you, everything in any fun way, in a nice way, in an inspirational way. They have tried doing that. And when you did Gadar as Sakina, did you even anticipate it's still the most watched film in the history of Bollywood?
I must tell you, Gadar happened to me parallel to when I was shooting Kaho Na Pyar Hai. So I would go from being this bubbly college kid, current year, to going to a character like Sakina. In 10 days of shooting Kaho Na Pyar Hai, I would be on a Gadar set and going back in time to pre-independence, post-independence, playing a mother, which was a huge step, a very bold, challenging step.
That too in your second film.
Second film. So I was advised by very, very big film personalities, directors, producers, that you're crazy. You're committing a huge career faux pas, harakiri with your career, that after coming with a young boy like Ritik, a launch like this, though no one knew what the result would be, but the fact is that you've been presented as a college kid and all. Are you really wanting to go into a film, a period film like this, and play a mother and stuff in your second film? But when I heard the narration of Gadar, my heart and soul said, I have to do it. And at that time, people didn't have the highest regard for Anil Sharma. They said he's come from a film like Maharaja. It's such a disaster. Z Studios was not a studio. Gadar was their first ever film production. So it was not that they were an established production house. So everything did not tick the boxes.
But you still did it.
But I still did it. I went against everyone's advice and I still went and I did Gadar. And the subject fascinated me. Sakina and Tara's love story fascinated me.
Another peak romance.
Peak romance. And the fact that a man would do anything for love and this cross-border romance, just intrigued me, that love transcends religion, Love translates hatred between countries. Love transcends boundaries of any kind. Also, my character of Sakina had an age difference between
Yeah.
Tara. I was supposed to be, which I am in real life,
Absolutely.
2 decades younger than Sunny.
Yeah.
And it was a young girl, educated girl from a politically rich background falling in love with an ordinary elderly truck driver.
Yeah.
And again, it transcended all that. Like, love has no boundaries.
But Ameesha, when the movie worked and it came with Lagan, okay, and this surpassed everybody's expectations in terms of commerce. Even the part 2 actually went on to become 500 crores when people thought that, oh, what if it's jaded? It's been so many years, but it actually like broke everybody's perception.
Actually brought Bollywood out of ICU is the responses that me and Sunny got. We were like, you all have infused oxygen into Bollywood. You all have hit the ball not out of the park, out of the goddamn country only.
Absolutely.
Because it was only the South films that were working, and people thought, is this the end of Bollywood? Theatres were shut.
Do you feel like Bollywood, the way when you guys debuted, even that time, because I was a young boy, right, and I have grown up watching you guys, and like literally, like my idols will always be the 90s and the 2000s, right? Do you feel like today's generation of actors is missing the hyper heroism that today Allu Arjun is a huge star, people are celebrating because of the hyper heroic nature that Pushpa has shown with him, right?
Yeah.
You feel like Tara Singh is not just an ordinary truck driver. He's pulling off the...
Tara Singh becomes Superman, Spider-Man, and Tara Singh for the love of his Sakina.
Yeah.
Sakina is his heart and soul. He'll do anything for Madam Ji.
Yeah.
He keeps her like this. By nature, he's not a ginormous, like he doesn't roam around thinking, I
like
am
a giant.
this He-Man,
Yeah.
I'm this giant. It was never supposed to be portrayed like I am, Pushpa, I am anything. It was never that.
No, but do you think that the hyper heroism that Sunny sir had, okay, when he's pulling it off, even in this
Anything
one,
is convincing
yes.
when Sunny Deol does it. Like, in fact, I was watching a recent interview of Rohit Shetty's and Ajay Devgan, and they were on a podcast, and they said that the manliness and the conviction with which the audience believes when a Sunny Deol is pulling that pump, nobody has that today. Because just by, and Ajay said this and Rohit Shetty said this, and they said that just by removing your shirt or building a body in a gym, you don't become a man.
Yeah.
These were actors like in Ajay, Akshay, Sunil Shetty, even,
Sanjay Dutt,
Salman Shah. They don't need to, and Sunny was the epitome of that. They don't need to remove their clothes. Like in Gadar 2 as well, in the second half, when Tara Singh becomes the Superman for his Sakina, on her behest, he goes to Pakistan. He's in one costume the entire film. And it's an ordinary kurta pajama. He's in a pathani.
Yeah.
And he's not showing a six-pack. He has it. It's all natural. He's got the muscle. Like if you touch Sunny, he's, oh my God, like he's all muscle, He doesn't need to show it.
Yeah.
His eyes, his dialogue delivery, his natural build is convincing enough.
Absolutely. But he's also somebody, like the character is not just brawn, it's a lot of heart as well, right?
And the vulnerability and the innocence on the face is still there. Tara Singh's beauty and Sakina's beauty is that their romance that came on screen even 20 years later, and you see them in the song blushing with each other, audiences related to that. That even after 20 years of being married, they're still blushing. They're still that.
I sent you a video saying that, because I was in Lucknow when I watched Gadar 2, and the song comes, your love song, and people reacting to that actually proves that certain movies, certain characters eventually turn out to be
magic
and emotion. Emotion to people,
Soul.
Soul.
Whenever a film has soul, it'll transcend boundaries of time, age, everything.
But when you did that, and when everybody opposed it, when the reactions for first Gadar came, when the numbers came, what were the same producers coming and telling you is what I want to know.
Do our film.
Did you do that?
Loads of them. But see, of course, Gadar 2 opened up avenues like no other, of course. And there was this acceptance that, oh my God, she's so versatile. You know, she can be a Sonia, and then she can be a Sonia in the second half who's demure from this bubbly, crazy girl on the beach. And then there's this Sakina, and she can convincingly play a rich girl from that time who's gone to college, to a very British college and school, speaks impeccable English and marries an ordinary truck driver and adjusts in those surroundings. And there's an inherent richness in her that continues through the film, but she doesn't bring that upon Tara, you know? And she can play a gamut of emotions. And that's the reason I did the Hamraazes and all. Because
Oh my God, what a film.
you know, Abbas Mustan saw that this girl is versatile. Again, there was opposition when Hamraaz was being done because people were like, now you have to play a money-minded girl. And in both your films, you've not been money-minded. You've been the rich girl adjusting to a not-so-rich boy that you fell in love
You're
with.
manipulative person.
Yeah, and now suddenly you have to have like this manipulation, you know, you have to manipulate a Bobby to get his wealth, etc. But your image is so clean. And I was like, I love a challenge. So again, that was one of the films that was opposed and I still wanted to do it. So in my career, I've seen whenever I've not gone with films that have ticked the boxes, they've actually worked when I've gone with my heart.
I want to ask you then, you know, there was a point of time when you were doing multiple films at once, right? So which was that one or two projects which you really wanted to do but couldn't do because of date issues, not because the script you didn't like?
Well, what I found out later was Chalte Chalte was my film. And my secretary actually told Shah Rukh's team that I didn't have dates. Had I found out at that time, I would have made sure I had the dates. So that was one film that, you know, I found out much later and Shah Rukh made me aware of it. You know, that this film was yours. I was dubbing for Hamraaz. He was dubbing for Chalte Chalte. We were in the same studio. We bumped into each other. And he's like, come Ameesha, let me show you my film that you didn't do. And I was like, I didn't do? Am I crazy? It's my dream to work with Shah Rukh, you know. And then I heard the backstory that, you know, and those times very different, you know, secretaries played a key role, everything went through that. It was not like WhatsApp voice messages that you just pick up, you call the actor directly. There was a protocol that everybody
But did you
followed.
fire your secretary
Of
after
course,
that?
he's not working with me anymore. But of course, that was one of the films that I did lose out on, which I till date, whenever I see Chalte Chalte, to Rani was so brilliant. She looked like a dream, she performed like a dream, and you know, but I still feel that, oh my God.
Any other
songs
movies?
There were a lot of films, you know, I couldn't do Munna Bhai, MBBS. And there were a lot of films that also didn't work at the box office, that also I didn't have dates to do, which I had a keenness to do, but I was committed elsewhere. So you always have this. See, an actor can only be in one place at one time. So we have to choose. So some that we give up go on to become huge box office successes. Some become damn squids, you know, and so...
And you can't really
really tell, you can't predict.
But when you speak about Shah Rukh Khan, that's one actor who you have not worked with in a movie.
Yeah, only a guest appearance in Om Shanti.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm manifesting. I want to work with him. I think we'll make a beautiful jodi. We'll add a freshness that has not been seen because we've never come together. That and all my fans have been telling me this, you know, that, ma'am, we'd love to see you with Shah Rukh because I think you'd make such a wonderful star cast together because you all haven't come together. And in that one jhalak in Om Shanti Om, you all look so good. And I can just imagine freezing in chiffon saris.
But that was the scene anyway.
Exactly. And Shah Rukh doing his step. So, inshallah, I hope it happens.
But apart from Chalte Chalte, were there any movies which never happened only maybe with both of you, which were offered to both of you?
I don't know. I wouldn't know really. Bilu Babar was one film that, you know, I had been offered, I'd been signed because I'd worked with Priyanji in Bhool Bhulaiyaa, and then Shah Rukh himself said that you don't suit the character of, I cannot imagine you as a village girl. And yes, there was one film that Shah Rukh, Swadesh, that Shah Rukh wanted me to do, and he requested me to meet Ashutosh Gowarikar, and I had been finalized for Lagan as well. And Ashu had called me in New Zealand. My secretary had called me in New Zealand and said, कि ma'am, वो लगान की date हम लोग ने गदर के लिए दे दिया. And I said, क्यों? He said, because Ashu's not feeling that you will look like, you know, a village belle because you're very polished and your eyes are very educated.
Yeah.
So no matter कि हम आपको काला पीला कर दे, tan makeup लगा दे, ये वो, your inherent body language and your polish is, not a village character. And those were the same reasons Gadar actually signed me, because they wanted the polish of an educated girl. They wanted, like Nitin Kenny, who actually had spotted me for Gadar through a magazine when he'd seen Ritik in my photo shoot. I actually asked him what made him look for me. And he said, I saw this picture in one of the magazines. I was like, but Nitin sir, I'm in a short skirt, how did you perceive me as Sakina?
Sakina, yeah.
He said, the face, we wanted a very pure, innocent
Indian face. I think you had that
very
Indianness on your face.
Madhubala, Meena Kumari kind of look. Because there's a dialogue in the film where the character of Tara Singh says कि अगर मैं चांद को उचक के छूना चाहूँ तो it's not going to be possible. We needed a face that looked like the moon and was untouchable. And he said, see, acting we can still get out from you. But wo uthna, baithna, you have an inherent sophistication. You come from a political family, which Sakina did. In real life, you came from it. You were educated, which Sakina was. You have a British kind of accent, which Sakina needed. She also went to school, British school, just like you have in real life. So you're saying, this I cannot get from any other girl. And they had screen tested 500 girls for Gadar, and they found me. So these were the reasons that Gadar selected me, and these were the same reasons that I lost out on Lagan. Because they needed someone completely unpolished, and Gracie did a superb job.
But was it the same reason why you couldn't do Swades?
So exactly. So then when Shah Rukh told me, he said, for my sake, go meet Ashu. I really would love for you to be in the film, because we need someone who can look beautiful without any makeup and, has that, tehrav and everything. And I told Shah Rukh then only, I said, trust me, I've been through the process in Lagan. He is going to reject me. So Shah Rukh said, no, go meet him for my sake. And Shah Rukh fixed up the meeting very, very sweetly. And I did meet him. And I did not get the part. And, Shah Rukh and I, of course, laugh about it. So maybe in store, something better, bigger. I don't know.
Another thing that I think we have like grown up on, and it's still iconic, is a song. Okay? Can you guess which song?
There are so many.
Yeah, but I am talking about this song where you're wearing yellow.
Lazy Love.
Yeah!
That was again a challenge. So when I was called, Adi Chopra Aditya called me to the office and he said, see Ameesha, you have an inherent sensuality which you were not aware of. It came out on the beach with Ritik, but you were not trying to be hot or anything. You just were, right? And even I was not aware of it or whatever, that even people found me hot. Like, in my mind, it was not even, like, Sakina was not hot, like Sonia. For me, it was just bubbliness and all. So I never had that in my head. I never considered myself a Madhubala beauty or any kind of beautiful person. I didn't consider myself hot either. So when Aditya Chopra said, he's like, this girl next door beauty image, we've got to change into a sexy siren. Are you up for the challenge? And I was like, Adi, I love a challenge. And that time I had not heard Lazy Lummy, I had not heard the song, I had heard nothing. It was in fact at Karan Johar's birthday party that Kunal Kohli had told me that, listen, Adi and I need to meet you for something. I had no clue they were offering me a guest appearance in Thoda Pyar Thoda Magic. It was a natural surrounding. It was Karan's birthday and it was at Taj Lands End, I remember, and it randomly, and I was wearing yellow that night too. Okay, so I was like, oh my God. And then I went to Adi and he was like, this is the film. It's again a bimbet kind of role, dumb blonde. You've never done that. You're not that in real life. You're a very educated, well-spoken girl. So playing a dumb blonde can kind of make you fall on your face too, right? You can do it all wrong. And I said, I want the challenge. And the original costume was in white. And Adi changed it to yellow. He told Manish, no, I think yellow will be the color. And it worked. And then there was a joke, in Yash Raj that ki film to nahi chali, sirf Ameesha Patel Lazy Lummy chali.
But Lazy Lummy is still iconic.
Very, very iconic. Like there's no nightclub, no wedding, no nothing that does not play this, and as soon as it starts playing, like everyone's on the floor.
That's true.
So yeah, I've been very fortunate, I think, that whatever challenges they've taken up, even a honeymoon travels, it was a first of its kind. You know, it was a challenge. I had never been part of Awesome. Plus, they didn't make those kind of films.
Bhool Bhulaiyaa.
Bhool Bhulaiyaa. So when, you know, in Race 2 also,
Race
again
2.
playing someone ditzy and, you know, going to that. And of course, I did it as a special appearance for Abbas Mustan and Ramesh Taurani, my producers, directors, who I'd worked with before. And even when Farhan Akhtar and Zoya approached me and Ritesh and all for, you know, the role
Honeymoon.
of Pinky in Honeymoon Travels, they're like, Anurag Kashyap has written this with only you in mind. You know, it's a new kind of film we're trying. It's experimental because slice of life films weren't made.
Yeah.
It was a very different concept. And, you know, you love pink and the girl is pinky. And I was taken in by the subject when they told me, I had my handbag and I started taking out all these pink things and I was like, they're like, oh my God, you're so cut out to play this role. So I added so many things to the film, like the pink umbrella walking on the beach. And I was like, no, Pinky will only wear heels in the sand, even if her feet are going to go in and out. The pen when she's lighting a letter, which has feathers and all, you know. They were all my personal belongings.
Oh,
and
wow.
I brought all that into the film, you know, because I enjoyed doing these characters. And today they're memorable. I took that leap of faith. I, you know, didn't go by the norms.
Never. You actually never
In
did.
Hamraaz, I was the first of my generation to wear saris. In the second half, I'm only in saris. And again, that was like, are you crazy? Why would you step into this mold so fast? And I felt the character needed to come into those saris. The first half had a young, bubbly, this and that. And then she becomes the wife of a very rich, sophisticated, esteemed man. So she needed that changeover. So Rocky S and me sat and we made those net saris, which again became a rage. You know, no one had worn that. And so I'm glad that I took that leap of faith in every film that I did.
You know, when you talk about faith, Ameesha, when you put faith in people and maybe sometimes in the wrong people, you also get dejected, right? As an artist, as a human being. Were there any movies where when you signed up, the thing that was promised to you and the way it turned out to be, it wasn't the same and you felt like you put your faith on the wrong people?
A lot of films, see, you don't go into a film thinking you're making a film that won't work out, right? So there are there's a lot of difference between a narration and an execution. So a lot of times, you know, you've heard the narration and you feel this film has got all the potential to be liked and loved by the audience. But then through the process of filming, you know, it's not being executed as such. And then the box office results show. So you get disappointed because me, personally, I give my whole and soul to everything that I do.
Yeah.
You know, if it's an event, if it's an interview I'm sitting with, if it's a film, I always want to come out that chale na chale, Ameesha should be loved and she should give her 100%. It's not fair on any producer or director that I come in half-heartedly on
You know, you wonderfully spoke about faith, okay? And I know for a fact that you're a person, if you like somebody, if you find somebody to be close to you, you go that extra mile for people, right? Because you are a very friendly person and you're a friend's friend. Yes, you're a friend's friend, right? Like when you said that Shah Rukh sir and you have not worked with, but you still have great regards and he equally has great regards for you. But when you are an emotional person, a lot of people in the industry can take you for a ride, right? I read this post where, you know, Gadar 2 is great and everything, but there were certain things promised to you as a heroine, which was not given to you. Did that hurt you? Did that make you feel disappointed and dejected because you trusted?
Absolutely. If you're telling me I wasn't hurt, I was very hurt because, to be honest, till date, in all the films I have done, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, and I have worked with heroes multiple times, Sanjay Dutt twice, Arjun Rampal 4 times, Sunny 4 times, Bobby Deol 3 times.
Salman,
I've worked with, from an Aftab to newcomers like Jimmy, I have worked with Ajay Devgan, you know, I've worked with everybody, with Amir and Mangal Pandey. Nobody has not given me what was promised. Everybody has stuck with exactly what they gave me. When Abbas Mustan worked with me in Hamraaz and knew that the film, you know, has the girl as a central character, they were clear not only to me, but to Bobby and Akshay as well. I went on to work with them again in a guest appearance in Race 2 because I knew they were clear with me that this is it, this is it. My producers I've worked with multiple times, like Venus Films, Tips, everybody. I have never experienced this, and I never thought I would experience this, because Anil Sharma for me was family.
Yeah.
You know, we have spent lovely moments. He has had to work hard on the character of Sakina to bring me into that mold. So I used to spend something like 14 hours of prep work at his home for 6 months before Gadar actually started. I had that connection, and he was obsessed with Sakina's character and Tara's character from Gadar 1. So, of course, when I was promised the climax, and as you can see, the climax was very abrupt. And these were the reactions in the theatre also, कि क्या हो गया? Villain को ना Sunny ने मारा, किसी ने नहीं मारा, he was just left on no man's land. So it was agreed upon कि असली हकदार Sakina ही होगी ये villain को मारने के लिए. Because he was the reason he made the father, he hung Sakina's father, Amrish Puri ji. He was the reason the life of Sunny, Tara and Jeete, her son, were in jeopardy. So it was her revenge. I was narrated the lines I would tell. कि ये लो तुम्हारा कातिल आ गया, and आती है तलवार के साथ मार देती है and everything. And when people got to know and they'd seen this video, I kept a dignified silence for 3 years. This video that has been circulating and came into circulation now because Anil Sharma was, talking about Vanvas and all, which sadly didn't do well at the box office. But this issue came up. And, this video had been in circulation with the entire Z Studios, with Anil Sharma's office, direction team, the production team, the choreography, everybody, every technician from action to, choreographer, everyone had this video. And I never brought it up during filming. I never brought it up during promotion. Till date, I have never brought it up. But yes, it's a live video where you can see and hear Anil Sharma promising me, my voice is there, his voice is there, the images are there. The writer, Shaktiman ji, telling me the lines that I will be saying. And in that also, he's admitted that Sunny sir ko bhi ye bahut pasand aaya, and he's agreed and everything. So when everything was fine, and it would have been a justified, it's not that you're giving me anything to please me. Everyone heard this and they're like, but Amy, everybody was like, your film would have gone to another level. It would have done 300-400 crores more collection, because what a moment for Sakina to come and slaughter the villain. It's a huge high and claptrap in the theatre. And Anil Sharma will always be family. The film's a blockbuster, and I'm like, let bygones be bygones. But I'm sure somewhere in his conscience, it does hit him that this is what he did, because it was wrong.
But would you do Gadar 3? Or would you take proper precautions and be very clear about what?
I would work with anybody, but with Anil Sharma, of course, I would now take precautions, because once bitten, twice shy. And I'm open to any good subject, as long as my presence is justified in that film. And I'm okay to do Gadar 3, because at the end of the day, if Gadar 3 is made without Tara or Sakina, it's not a Gadar.
Yeah, it will never be.
It'll never be.
It'll never be.
Tara plus Sakina equals Gadar. They're the pillars. Otherwise, Gadar just becomes a title.
Yeah.
So there's certain films like a Titanic or a Dilwale or a Kaho Na Pyare, or certain films, you need the original love story characters. People don't connect.
Yeah.
So, but you just be more precaution, you take precautions, you'd have things finalized. I just put my faith, because I did not think that a man who's family to me would do this after knowing me for 27 years.
Yeah. But what about Kaho Na Pyar Hai 2? Why is that not happening? Like, now that it's re-released and got such crazy traction, reaction numbers.
And it's trending everywhere.
And I think now they have launched the Roshans also, where they've spoken so much about the film. Why don't you just tell your uncle and Hrithik Roshan?
You need to tell him.
We told him. We told him when we met that, listen, this is high time. You guys have to come with a Kaho Na Pyare 2 with the same cast. Because if you don't do it with the same cast, it will not be the same magic.
Yeah, then it's just a title.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you cannot see Kaho Na Pyare minus Hrithik and me. And you cannot see it.
But in between also, there has never been a talk of having like a...
these things I think just happened suddenly. Like Gadar 2 also, there was no talk for years and years. And I'll tell you, all my friends used to tease me and say, Ameesha, if any film can break Gadar 1's collections at the box office, it'll only be Gadar 2. And I used to laugh it off and say, dude, it's not even on the cards. One fine day it came on the cards and my friends were like, Dekha? I'm like, listen, let's shoot for it. Let the release happen. We'll see then. When it succeeded to that level and genuinely broke off box office records yet again, my friends are like, Dekha na, you're just meant for iconic hits, cult hits which people remember forever from your name to the dialogues. You're not meant for Friday to Friday releases. So now after the re-release of Kahona also, because Gadar 1 also recently got re-released and
Yeah.
then they released Gadar 2. So they're like, Amy, there has to be a part 2 because Kahona Pyar Hai 2 will cause Gadar at the box office.
Absolutely.
Like literally this is...
I think I understand the ending of Hamraaz, but they can start Hamraaz 2 also with a new story, maybe with the same cast, but with a new story. Why
Absolutely,
not?
they can.
Like, why
These
not?
are all films that have a potential for part 2. All
Yeah.
of them. All of them.
But now, before leaving, I have to ask you this important question that, when you started off, you were an outsider, right? Today, you've built everything on your own. There are camps, but you've never been a part of the camp. Before I come to that, what was your first paycheck for Kahona Pyare? How much did you get paid?
2 lakhs, that's it.
Only
over 3 years, over 2.5, 3 years. It was nothing with tax being cut and everything. It was, I spent more on makeup and buying my own makeup than actually what I earned from the film. But what
it gave you is something.
But the paychecks never mattered.
Yeah.
It was what these films gave me in terms of success and love of the audiences. It was never the paycheck,
And when you speak about camps, one thing I've always seen about you is like you speak your heart out. And people don't want women to be as honest and as unabashedly unapologetic as you are. Do you feel a lot of times there have been a lot of... It's cost you a lot of projects and films just because you call a spade a spade?
I wouldn't know the internal workings of maybe something that I have honestly spoken, or if I've not followed the tide or gone with the tide of, what is demanded of you in the industry. I've just always been grateful that on the merit of my work, being an outsider, I've still reached till here. I've been very grateful to God and my producers and directors. They had the faith in me. I've given Bollywood their most iconic, path-breaking films, box office biggest numbers, and like you said, the biggest, highest footfalls that any girl has given time and time again. So I'm very grateful. I think outsiders made a great place in the industry. Shah Rukh, Madhuri, Ayushmann, Karthik,
Absolutely.
Juhi, all of them, Akshay, they've all come from not belonging and yet made a phenomenal place for them. And God has been kind to their talent and God has been kind to mine.
Yeah. In a very recent interview, because Bhool Bhulaiyaa has released part 2, part 3, Akshay Kumar was asked that why did you not do Bhool Bhulaiyaa? And he said that, I was replaced. I was thrown out of the movie. You and Priyansa Priyansa didn't make the movies, the part 2 and part 3. But did you ever reach out and figure out why, like, Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2 and 3 never happened?
I was the romantic lead opposite Akshay, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the film also,
Yes.
he looks at me and he asks me to marry him and we give that eye-to-eye connect. So it was but natural that if my hero is not there, how could I be there? Now, someone told me in a recent interview, Anis sir said that in part 4, I'd like to bring Vidya, Ameesha, get the whole cast back. And it would be an interesting way if he, I don't know whether he can bring Akshay, whatever has transpired. I have no clue because that's the internal. I mean, it came as a shock to me also when I read it, right? So I don't know the internal workings and I will never probe into it because that's not my place. But it would make for a very interesting watch to get us all back.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Even I told Anis sir the same, that it would be interesting to see all the parts, like Tabu ma'am coming and Madhuri ma'am and everybody.
It would be exceptional and one of a kind.
Absolutely. It'll be...
I went for the film because I was so excited to see Vidya.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see Madhuri ji. I was so excited to see them. I mean, Karthik is phenomenal.
Absolutely, he is.
He's tremendous. He pulled it off brilliantly. But the newness and the curiosity came with having Vidya come back, having Madhuri come. So yes, definitely these elements, if you bring back the taboo, bring me back, it'll be a riot.
Listen, there's a Reddit post now that it reminds me of it. you had shot a song in Bhool Bhulaiyaa which
Yes.
never made it.
Yes.
And people
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and Reddit people have posted saying that why did they cut out this song? Look at her, she's so innocent. And it's a. Did you ever ask them why they cut this?
No, I am someone who just leaves it up to the producer, director, whoever is in charge of cutting that. But I think again they did add the song back once the film became successful. So originally they didn't even want to keep the Hare Ram Hare Krishna song at interval point. So there was a lot of that going on and off during that point. So I have no clue. But in fact, it was the most expensive song of the film. At that time, Bhushan Kumar had spent nearly 1 crore shooting that film, and we began Bhool Bhulaiyaa shooting with that song. Day one of Bhool Bhulaiyaa began with my song. So I don't know, why it was chopped off.
Yeah.
Because it was a beautiful song.
But before ending, I have to tell you that you are also the only actress right now who has had so many franchise. Like, you've done them, and now everybody's coming back with franchises, right, of the same movie. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel very proud that I've been part of the race. I've been part of Bhool Bhulaiyaa, Gadar, of course, both the parts. And people want part 2 of Hamraaz, want part 2 of Kaho Na Pyar Hai. It's a great feeling that I'm one of the only actors, being an outsider, that my franchises are still so current and working. And people are still working to make more parts of it. Now Race 4 is being made.
Yeah.
And Anisa wants to work on a Bhool Bhulaiyaa 4. So it feels fantastic.
But Race 4 is being made with Saif Ali Khan, if I'm not mistaken, again. And recently there was an attack on Saif Ali Khan. You worked with Saif Ali Khan in 2 films, which is Race and Thoda Pyar.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that? Like, it's been like a concern for safety of celebrities today.
See, it's no one should have to go through that at all. Not the common man, not a celebrity. And I hope this is an eye opener for everyone to get security in place, to get know that we are all vulnerable. No matter what economic strata we belong to, we are all vulnerable for such attacks, and we need to just be very careful and have a lot of security in place and keep ourselves more guarded and private maybe.
But have you felt like that, like a sense of fear sometimes being alone?
No, because I don't allow a lot of people into my private life. Not many people have access to where I live, what I do. I'm more of a private person. And but yeah, living alone as a girl, irrespective of being a celebrity, is always scary.
Yeah.
So, but I have things in place, but this can happen to anyone.
Yeah. But thank you so much. To many, many more movies, many, many more conversations, and many, many more iconic moments. Thank you for always having us around and maybe talking to us.
Thank you. Pleasure, Nayandeep.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.